we are looking at a tornado warning blinking in red right around Montgomery, Alabama. That does look like it could be turning strong. We're going to be analyzing base velocity here in just a moment. That's a type of radar that shows us just how fast those winds are. And we also have some storm chasers live in the field. I will show you now where we have Brett Adair, meteorologist. He's currently in Mississippi. No tornado warnings active in that location. And then we have Scott Peak. He is active in Mississippi as well. His exact location, Roxy. Again, no tornado warnings in Mississippi right now, but you can see there are some turbulent skies. It was just from the Louisiana border into Mississippi that we had our first tornado warning of the day. So that one has since then expired. I'm going to dig around a little bit here into the base velocity imagery. So that went near Natchez, Louisiana, across the border into Mississippi before it died down. But all in the yellow area is a tornado watch for tonight, Wednesday, May 6th. Yeah, and then there's that flood watch. So a lot of heavy rain also coming in with this system where we saw the green a little bit further to the east, where some damaging winds are expected later tonight. But we're not necessarily thinking that we're going to be getting any tornadoes in Georgia area tonight for the most part. So we'll go over that in a moment. What I'm going to do here is just end up saving where we're looking at here so that we can come back later and switch to that base velocity radar. Now, if you guys have any questions during this live stream, go ahead and ask them in the comments. I'll be scanning them every now and then. And as far as base velocity goes, this type of radar, it shows us the wind speed and direction. And so I'll get a legend posted up here at the top and see if we can catch this one a little bit better. It's not coming in very clear view here. That's probably our best radar site to be using right now. And I'll zoom in on where the tornado warning is. So I'll also go ahead, get these weather alerts up so that you can see exactly where the National Weather Service currently has that warning going on. And to be honest, I believe that would be a little bit further north here, where we see the green and red getting really close to one another. So at one point, about 5 minutes ago, it really looked like this scenario here was going to be forming what's called a tight couplet, close, opposite direction moving winds, which are classic with a tornado. Luckily, what I'm seeing here in this last little bit, it's getting a little less disorganized or a little less organized as it's moving toward Montgomery. So that's a good sign that perhaps it's not on the ground. As far as any reports go right now, this is still a radar indicated tornado warning. And so it'd be really helpful. We would see a much better picture here if I could go ahead and grab this single site radar to show us that one. Here we go. That's to the then now we're getting a radar beam that's shooting out from the east. And so it'll change that a little bit. And you can see the brighter tone. So that is better to show you guys in the case that you can see these lighter tones here are there. And then here, let me see. It looks like the graphic for the legend is not appearing, and I'm going to see if I can get that to squeeze into the view here for you guys. But basically, what I'm looking at then, here we go, a little different. I'll fix this up for you. It's what we're getting with that lighter green. I'm just going to go ahead and circle it with the mouse and tell you. We're looking about 90 to 100 mile per hour winds right at this location where that mouse is right now. And that, if it ends up with a tornado on the ground, could be very damaging, of course, likely moving just south of Montgomery here, cross 65 in Alabama as we go through the next 20, 30 minutes. But again, it's not been seen on the ground. We don't have any active observation of that being confirmed. And so it's just something that has been issued because we do know there's that upper level rotation going on. Now, along with that, we can take a peek at some other things here. I'm going to show you guys these severe weather threats throughout the day too. So we have one product here with, let's see if it's not loading up. Um, the hail is another one I can show you for getting the point across that there are other hazards today. So where we are seeing any of these purples, it is associated with a higher probability that there was hail within these certain storms. So I'll play this out. And we do know that there's been hail falling from that storm tracking toward Montgomery. Some of those alerts here that came in is that there's trees down across Highway 69 south of Galleon. So that's outside of Old Spring Hill in Alabama. And then that came in with the same thunderstorm that we're now watching that active tornado warning have. Along with that was dime size hail that was seen outside Fawnsdale. So some of that hail could have been a little bit larger, but it's not quite what we were seeing earlier today. 2 inches in Texas this morning around 11 a.m. So as we go through the afternoon here and evening, we're not going to be getting quite as much hail for the southeast as what we saw with those large size hails in Texas earlier. And so then I'll go back to our base velocity imagery for us just to keep a close eye on what's going on with that rotation heading toward Montgomery. I'll go ahead and save this view real quick and we can jump over to any questions that you might have. And also, I'll look at the regular radar again with you. Rainfall rates are going to be another thing that is a concern today, possibly chances there for some flooding. And so another setup way to look at this, you can see that dime size hail, something you can track on the United Cajun Navy weather app. Next to tornado warnings, typically there are hailstones falling, and we're going to have some hailstorms today where this little pink shows up. And so we have a couple spots of that. And when that happens, either here or on the app, this is indicating that dime size, maybe to quarter size hail that's falling. Otherwise, these are very heavy torrential downpours in the red. So it's going to be that kind of rain that makes it hard to see and has already resulted in one flood warning right now. We're looking at that over Alexandria in Louisiana. So I'll zoom in a little more and we can get some more details here. And that's not the one here. But I'll go ahead and pull up some more information on that storm while I'm continuing to watch that base velocity heading toward Montgomery, that rotation, making sure that that's not something that's coming up as seen on the ground already. But when it comes to the flood warning that's outlined in this dark red here in Louisiana, it includes Alexandria. And so that is for Doppler radar had indicated thunderstorms with heavy rain. That was 1 to 2 inches of rain that has fallen already with a doubling amount coming up. So another 1 to 2 inches of rain is about to fall from what's on the backside of that storm system. And that's going to be causing some possible flash flooding in the creeks, the streams, even on some of the roads and highways. So be extremely cautious if you're driving through these torrential downpours today, please. So I'll take a moment as I back up and just let this radar play out for you, reminding everybody we have in the green, it is a flood watch. And in the yellow, it is a tornado watch that we're looking at. So I'll let this radar play out where we have the blinking red. That's an active tornado warning. It's been radar indicated. I still don't have any observations of that, and I'm going to check in with our comment section, and then we'll take a look at what the storm chasers are seeing that are out on our team right now. So first here, I'm not seeing any comments yet. So if you do happen to have questions, go ahead. You can put them in the comments. Of course, any other information, if you know of more storm details, that's always welcome as well. And in the bottom right, we're looking at some views from Mississippi. So a couple of different areas of Mississippi where we have some severe thunderstorm activity going on is where some of our chasers are right now. We could pull up a view from Reed Timmer, but currently none of them are in an area where we do have a tornado ongoing. I'll switch back to that base velocity so we can see how that severe thunderstorm is looking in Mississippi that they're near. So for doing that, I'll go ahead and grab another radar site. Yeah, it looks like we're not having much, if any, real rotation in that storm. So the other thing I'll do is put on these watch and warnings so that we can see, pinpoint exactly, make it clear where the severe thunderstorm is. Now, luckily, we're not seeing then in Mississippi, just east of 55, heading toward Philadelphia. This is not causing any kind of serious rotation. There's a lot of hills in that area as well, and that can oftentimes break up tornadoes from forming. Now, just near Montgomery, it's quite a bit more flat as this particular storm is approaching. So we have another view here where we can see that there is that green right next to red heading over Montgomery. So these are opposing winds causing some rotation at the cloud level, now affecting Montgomery, Alabama. Passing over 65 right now. There are going to be some pretty strong gusts here. They could be ranging anywhere from 75 to 100 miles per hour. And if we get lucky, this will not be touching down and it will not end up with what's called an observed tornado warning. But there is very well rotation at the sky. There could be a funnel there. And so, just to make sure we have all the details, I'll turn on our local storm reports. And in this case, as it's approaching the bigger city of Montgomery, Alabama, this would mean that law enforcement, other people are out there with their cameras looking, and very quickly, the National Weather Service in Alabama would be told that there is something like a funnel cloud. And in this case, we would have that local storm report right here to our Barren Weather software. So that'll pop up and populate if anybody happens to see a funnel. As of yet, that has not happened, but we do have upper level rotation within the cloud, at least over Montgomery, Alabama right now. And so now that we've really kind of looked at this and seen that it's not completely organized, hoping that it does not touch down, we'll just get another look at where our storm chasers are in the field. And so for one, we have Brett Adair, who is in Mississippi right now. Now, his exact location, I'm going to go ahead and grab for us. It's not populating on here right now, but we'll keep an eye on that radar here in the corner. As I look at his view here from another system, I can see his location is Prattville, Alabama. So from Prattville, now that he got back into that area, I'm happy to see he made it there. We'll be closer to Montgomery. I'll go ahead and get that pulled up on the map and give you guys an idea of just how far, what direction he would be looking at from Montgomery. And then Montgomery, Alabama. So he will, and he is driving north right now. So, he's driving south from Prattville. Prattville is north of Montgomery, about northwest of it, just a little bit. So he, of course, is looking in the direction of where that tornado warning is. This is meteorologist Brett Adair in Prattville, Alabama, looking toward Montgomery, Alabama, where an active tornado warning is ongoing that we see in the bottom right, not a very strong base velocity couplet. So that's a good indicator that this is staying up at the cloud level. But, these things can change very rapidly. And so it's still suggested that anybody in that area would take cover if you're inside of that blinking red. So I'll go ahead and maximize. I think that's the wrong button to press, actually. Let me see here. I'm using a new program I'm still kind of learning how to manipulate as far as the streaming goes. So that's a better view of this Montgomery, Alabama tornado warning. Prattville, where we just saw Brett Adair, is where I'm circling here, northwest of Montgomery. So he is looking toward that. But of course, the rain is so heavy that we can't really catch anything. Now, he would be on site if there's any need for search and rescue. He's very close by. So that is good news. Now, when it comes to Scott Peak, he is currently in Bude, or Bude, Mississippi, not one that I'm familiar with. And so I'll go ahead and show everybody where that is on the map now and give you guys a little show of what he is seeing right now. He's actually close to where the tornado warning, the first one of the day, crossed from Louisiana into Mississippi. Now, that one has been cut off. And I think that this one over Montgomery, this tornado warning, Montgomery, Alabama, I do kind of believe this will be shut off here, expired pretty shortly. But what we're looking at from Bude, Mississippi, where Scott Peak is another batch of heavy torrential downpours. So it's important to know these tornadoes would not be easy to see. If there was a tornado when you were driving, it would be very likely that you would just start seeing these trees falling where you get that quarter-mile visibility here. That would be your first warning that there is a tornado when there is this much rain. So it's absolutely important that you or any of your loved ones have at least different ways to get storm alerts. So I'm going to tell you a couple of them. One would be the United Cajun Navy weather app. You can let it track your location. You can also add locations. And in that case, you would get all of those different areas warnings. If you're driving, you can also use Apple Maps or Google Maps and have a route going. If you're in a route, an active route, and you have the audio turned on for that, and you could hear giving directions, it will also tell you if your route is intersecting any type of weather warning at all. So those are a couple of ways to stay a lot safer during these. If you happen to need to drive, another thing you can do is take a look at the radar. So I would also suggest getting a couple different apps. One of them, I really do enjoy the United Cajun Navy weather app. It's free. And you would be able to just kind of, I'll show you how I would do that because these are very similar systems. You can hit up the radar and just play it out a little bit. So, well, here I'll zoom in because what if you were in this tornado warning and didn't know it driving, but if you happen to stop before you start your route, or just stop every now and then, get gas, see what's coming your way. I'd love for this to play out smoother for the demonstration purpose. Let's see if I can get this. The point here is not going to be able to be made if you can't see where the storm is coming from. So I'll refresh this, see if that helps at all. But typically, we would be seeing different frames here of the radar. It might just take a minute to load. So I'll actually give this just a moment to see if we can see where the storm was coming from. A lot of what's going on today is moving mostly east. And now our weather app will not do this. I'm a little bummed out that's happening now, but just if you play out your radars on the weather app, it will show you a smooth version of where that storm is going next. Now, something that I can do here that you don't have access to on the app, I don't think, is these storm tracks. I'll just double check as I open it now. I don't use the storm tracks on the app, that's for sure. But I'll just make sure they're not there before I confirm that. There have been some updates lately. And hey, there is a storm track on here. So it looks exactly the same on the app. If you go to the overlays on the app and hit storm tracks, you would get an idea of which direction the storms are moving. So that tornado warning, that rotation, it was going a little south, very likely will expire. But everything else there is moving toward the east. So you can have a heads up there by overlaying those storm tracks to know if something potentially dangerous is coming your way. As far as the severe thunderstorm warning is concerned, that whole orange area, it's active right now, with the reason being 60-mile-per-hour winds and $half size hail. Now, we have not seen any storm reports of hail that big. A lot of times in the south, when it's warm, that's going to melt. It's just such a high humidity warmth that it actually melts a lot of these hailstones that can be observed at the cloud level before they hit the ground. So we have not been seeing $half size hail in the storm reports, but that's what's in the cloud level. So just keep in mind that you could be seeing some hail over there. And again, The same storm that it is now over Montgomery with the tornado warning had downed some trees across Highway 69 south of Galleon. That was about an hour and a half ago. So still actively with some strong wind gusts there, where we have Brett Adair positioned, and then the severe thunderstorm in Mississippi that had left Louisiana with a tornado warning. This is where Scott Peak actively is. Now, Reed Timmer is also out today. I could pull up his stream as well. Let me go ahead and get that for you. And we'll check in with what he's got going on now. And then I'll go back to the comments and see if you guys have any questions. Yeah, currently, he had been in Mississippi. Now I'll see what that view looks like. Sometimes it gets a little mixed up if I switch from one thing to the next. But his Facebook stream then here is showing him currently positioned. Let's see, south. It's not showing up all the way for me. It says southwest something. Southwest of, it just keeps updating. Jackson, Mississippi still. Okay, so that's where he had been. So I'll close his for now, and we'll know that he is a little bit to the north of where that severe thunderstorm warning is in Jackson, Mississippi. So we do have Scott Peak inside of that right now. We'll go ahead and get a view from him. And while we're watching his live stream here, Scott Peak near that severe thunderstorm warning in Mississippi, I'll go ahead and check our comments just to make sure nobody has any questions for me. Now, I don't see questions, but I do appreciate your input, Linda, saying Montgomery and surrounding towns are getting some serious rain right now. And so, absolutely, even into Georgia, floods, really quick floods, like we've been seeing over the last couple of days, like Louisiana, Alexandria just got hit today with some flood warning. Now, these places have had some serious droughts going on. So, any kind of flooding that we see in these flood watches, even extending into Georgia tonight, they are mainly going to be minor river, creek flooding. Flash floods that could result in some of the lower lying areas around cities and places that we drive. They could get overrun with water for a little bit, but it's not likely that this is going to last long. And something that truly we really need because of how the drought has been going. So I do hope that people get enough rain from all of this. And with that being said, I'll go ahead and open up some precipitation forecasts here next. So turn off some other things here. And then I'm working on switching around what we are seeing on the radar for when I go back to that, so that now we'll have a forecast model instead, and you guys can see how much rain we'll be expecting. So yeah, Scott Peak inside of that severe thunderstorm warning in Mississippi does not look like it's going to have any tornado warning with it now, but we'll go back to base velocity. And we do see that the blinking red right now near Montgomery, leaving Montgomery now, still some serious heavy rains, some strong winds, could be dropping some trees and stuff, but we're looking at like sporadic every here and there. Not so much a continued tornado warning from the looks of it. It looks like that is indeed going to get expired. And so another location here, first I'll play this out all the way, and we can read what this latest warning is. Came in about an hour ago. So I'll pause this at the end, and you can see this is through Saturday. So through the weekend, and then what I'm doing now is just pulling it through all the way to show you that nothing really changes. Most of this is going to be ending by Saturday. And so this rainfall amount Now we're looking at Friday morning is where I'm going to start this, and I'll give us some little point queries. But we're going to see more of what here this warning says. So this is for the region over here, right outside of Memphis. There was a flash flood about an hour ago. The intersection flooded at Norris Road and Norris Circle. So these are exactly the kind of threats that we face still in the next day and a half, where we see areas with red and orange. So I'm going to change my screen size here. Hopefully you'll be able to see it's not going to show you the legend. And so I'm going to add these little dots and you'll be able to see some different rainfall amounts. Because some of these are pretty dramatic. Here's where I live. So yeah, even up into Georgia, North Georgia, places like Blairsville, Dahlonega will be seeing like 4 inches of rain. This is what could do that creek flooding, some roads getting covered, and even more so here into Alabama. Alabama really has some of those higher totals. Alexandria already flooded up a bit. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so we can get a better idea here. But already about 3 inches has fallen in Alexandria, Louisiana. And now we're looking at another 3.8 inches over this next, day and a half. So we do have another couple of rounds of rain coming in with this. And then if I want to increase this through Saturday, you get the idea that there's a lot of rain coming. Now, Sunday, another batch could be expected. These totals would then get very high. I would not be sold on a foot of rain in this exact location, but do understand that it's a very high likelihood that more than half a foot of rain will be falling in quite a few areas. So where we see the purples could be moving around a little bit, and there likely will be some places that are closer to a foot in really small locations that end up getting hit over and over again. And so through the weekend, heavy rainfall. This is something we've needed, and there will be some breaks in between them. So that does reduce that risk of flooding into homes, at least. And some of these waterways, reservoirs, creeks will get filled up again. So I'm going to go ahead and get back into where we can see our current radar watches, warnings. We still have a little bit of a hook echo going on near Montgomery. And so let's check in with Brett Adair. We'll see how his live stream is going. It looks like we still just have these really kind of gray skies over his region, which I'll get his updated location right now. So Brett Adair, meteorologist, he is live in the field. Looks like he's still registered in Prattville, Alabama, and looks like he's getting on a 65 heading toward Birmingham. We can see that clearly then in this picture. And so that would put him, right around this area. Let's see. I'll re-enlarge since he doesn't have anything that is going to show us that there is in fact something on the ground or damages. And we don't have any local storm reports. Let's see that any funnels were even seen. We just have this bit of a hook echo going on, just a little bit of a weak rotation. So most likely this rotation has remained at the cloud level. And at this moment, Brett is right around where I'm circling. So he's on that lighter rainfall side, about to get onto 65 right here. So where it's lighter rainfall, he's going to be heading in here. And I do believe that we're going to get through this one all right without any kind of damages on the ground in near Montgomery. Like I had said, maybe a tree down here or there, but that has not even been posted. So good news with that one. And then as we end up zooming out, we'll see what other storms are out there. And so we're not, like I said, expecting such strong storms, not really tornadoes in the area of Georgia, but there are these special weather statements because there's heavy rain. That's the peach tone outline that we see. And so I'm going to clear up some of this mess here with those point queries. And we still only have these two reports, that one damage report of trees down from this storm system that's over Montgomery right now. We are, however, what I'm more concerned about would be this area where we have some storms pushing in together in Mississippi. We need to watch for that additional flooding in Alexandria as another risk. But when it comes to tornadoes, I would kind of be pegging where Scott is for that next chance with some tornadoes. And that's mainly because, let's see if I can play this out and get it to play smooth now. For some reason, it's been having some trouble. I'll see if there's something I can do here to change that. But let's say, yeah, there's really no reason that that should be happening. So I've already tried to refresh this. I'll try not to let this be too big of a deal. We know where the storms are now. What I wanted to make a point of anyway, I can just say, with all my training and experience, I can just see how these storms are, that they're kind of converging. They're coming together right over here in Wesson, Hazelhurst, Mississippi, for instance. This is somewhere where storms, as they're moving, maybe Maggie, Mississippi would be at risk for this as well, where these two storm cells start to push together. Getting that opposing wind could absolutely result in another tornado warning. So I'm going to switch to that radar site and we'll just take a look at what's going on. And since it's already on Montgomery area, let's see, I'll turn on our warnings and you can tell exactly where that tornado warning is. They have extended it, unfortunately. I was hoping it would fall off, but that one hook echo feature kind of gives it that extra reason for forecasters at the National Weather Service to keep a close eye on this and say we at least know that there is upper level rotation. So that has been extended into Pike Road in Alabama. I'll go ahead and say some of those other areas within the warning zone. We're looking at also Union Springs there on the southeast side. So Pike Road, Alabama, is about to get that right away, that rotation overhead. And so we still don't have any evidence that this is on the ground or, not from in-person results and not even from looking at this imagery. It doesn't look like, even in correlation coefficient, another type of radar we can use, does not look like anything has been lofted into the sky. So those are all good signs, just still reason to take cover. And so when it comes to populating cities, unfortunately, it doesn't show many on here. And so what I'm going to do is use my map app, go into Google Maps here, and I'll kind of speak out any other towns if there are any, because it does get really rural outside in this part of Alabama. Once you get outside the city, it becomes further between all the towns. So Pike Road, Alabama, does look like it's just about the only one in there. There's a couple of communities, neighborhoods that could be affected here. But luckily, we don't have any evidence that this is on the ground, and I just hope it stays that way. But yeah, that's it then. We have Fitzpatrick. I mean, that would be another area to kind of watch for, right in the middle. Fitzpatrick, Alabama, along with Union Springs. So yeah, I would say Fitzpatrick and Hardaway even. Those are the two cities that you don't really see. Of course, well, you can call them towns. Fitzpatrick and Hardaway, where I'm putting the mouse. So these areas, including Union Springs and Pike Road, Alabama, are suggested to take cover now just southeast of Montgomery, Alabama, for this tornado warning. It could drop down, but so far has not had any reports of being on the ground. There are absolutely some wind speeds in there, about 75 to 100 miles an hour. What we're getting from the scans in the sky, once in a while, some of those can reach down to the ground. So as far as those local storm reports go, I'm a little surprised almost that we haven't seen any more pop up. But that is turned on in here just in case something comes up, I'll be able to notify you and enhance that warning system that we know something has been doing damage, can make a big difference. As far as Scott Peak um, and Reed Timmer are concerned, they're in Mississippi right now. Reed is north of this severe thunderstorm warning, and Scott is very close to it. So we'll take a look at that base velocity for this after we look at Scott's view real quick. It looks like I can pull his up. He is now in Brookhaven, Mississippi. So we'll take a look at what he's looking at while I go ahead and switch that radar. And then when we come back to the radar imagery, we'll be looking at that same storm that Scott has his eyes on now outside of Brookhaven, Mississippi. And again, if you have any questions or any additional input on these storms, you can go ahead and share that in our comment section. And I'll go ahead and be checking these every now and then, and I can answer any forecast questions you might have. All right, so we do have Scott Stream just showing some of those obvious signs of wind shear and low level moisture, a couple of ingredients for tornadoes, that there are clouds moving in different directions. And there is enough moisture down low to support that kind of rotation, as he's in Mississippi right now, Brookhaven, Mississippi. So I'm finding the best option for a radar check on that same base velocity, wind speed, and direction that we can use here. The tool that we have access to from Barron. So this particular storm, where Scott is right now, is not really showing any signs of rotation. A little bit further south, let's see, closer to Amite, like north of Amite, Louisiana, there is another system that does look like it's getting a little bit of spin. So I will show you what I'm talking about here as Scott continues toward this severe thunderstorm warning. I'm not seeing so much rotation in there, but I'll circle where he's at. So he's in Brookhaven right now, which is dead center for this tornado warning. Severe thunderstorm warning in the orange. And that's there because of strong winds, about 60 miles per hour. But when it comes to rotation, we're not really seeing that. Now, further south, this is now the border of Louisiana and Mississippi. So we have Greensburg, Alabama. This darker bold line is where Mississippi begins. And here in this severe thunderstorm warning, where there's also some strong wind, we are seeing that red right next to the green. That's just a beginning sign of some possible rotation starting to form. So I'm sure the National Weather Service office is watching that closely and may need to be issuing a tornado warning there. But as of yet, that has not warranted any tornado warning. And so hopefully that can stay that way. I really enjoy that. But back to Montgomery then area, this storm system, the tornado warning that was including Montgomery when we started this stream, has now moved a little bit to the east. And so we do see less sign that there is a natural rotation on the ground, but we still have air that would be moving toward a radar station and air that's moving away from it right next to each other, kind of circling in on itself. So there's absolutely the chance for some funnel clouds out there. But still, I have these local storm reports turned on, and we're not getting any of that funnel cloud activity reported from law enforcement or any storm chasers yet. So I'm hoping that stays that way. We got Pike Road, Alabama included in this tornado warning, though. So just keep that in mind. Those other towns that are close by, again, we have I'll open it up on the map, make sure I don't mix up any names. It's Fitzpatrick, Alabama, and Hardaway, Alabama. So Fitzpatrick, right around here, to Hardaway, Alabama. This would be the area in about 15 minutes where that upper level rotation and possible tornado will be moving overhead soon before it skirts most likely north of Union Springs, or at least on the north side of Union Springs. Still getting radar indicated with more signs that it is not a tight rotational couplet leading to a tornado on the ground. And being such a populated area near Montgomery, that would have been said most likely. So we'll take another live look at this storm system from Brett Adair as he was traveling down 65. I'm sure he's getting now onto another highway, maybe 85. We'll get that updated location right now. So he is in Montgomery, heading southeast toward that tornado warning. So you see very gray skies. Another reminder that these would be hard to see if there was in fact a tornado on the ground. You wouldn't really be able to notice that easily. Again, excuse me. Again, that is meteorologist Brett Adair in Montgomery, Alabama, heading toward Pike Road, Alabama, where the tornado warning is active, just southeast of Montgomery. And I'll go back to our comment section. What I'm doing here is checking the Facebook live comments straight from our page to see if there's any questions or any more storm reports to share. Thankfully, we've not been seeing tornadoes on the ground or big damages. We were kind of anticipating a widespread area for these tornadoes today. And while that is still the case, if there's a large area included in this tornado watch, we've only had 2 storm systems with tornado warnings so far. Flooding is going to be another hazard. And so something that I'll set up for us to take a look at next is going to be the whole national road conditions. And now this, let's see, I'll get the legend on. For some reason, the legend, let's see, when I switch back using this newer software program here, I'm not seeing all of the legend. So I will scoot this and you'll be able to tell what I'm looking at or what these colors mean even. So we have slippery roads mostly. And it's not just the southeast where we have these severe thunderstorms going on. So it does extend a little bit further for some hazardous conditions today in Denver and those higher elevations of New Mexico. That's because of some winter weather. There's actually been like half a foot of snow or so that has fallen in Denver. So now we're looking at hour by hour all the way through Thursday evening at 6 p.m. So the next 24 hours. I'm a little surprised almost that we're not seeing patchy ice in that forecast because there is some snow, but I suppose, it's pretty dry out there too. So that would limit that risk actually in the Denver area. But there's definitely some snowfall going on over the Rockies. And as we go through the weekend, we're going to have round after round of rain. So we can see that the southeast gets white here after this green passes by that lasts through tonight into tomorrow morning. There will be some more rounds of some heavy rain coming. And so that's why we had so much rain forecast, like a half a foot or so for some parts of Louisiana, into Alabama, parts of Georgia through the weekend. And so having it be day after day, separate events will reduce that risk for any kind of severe flooding, but it'll be helpful for the drought. That drought has been really troublesome. So happy to see that we have some good amounts of rainfall coming in. And now back to our current tornado warning. Let's get I'm going to have to save this here with the warning on it to make it a little easier to find. And then I'll turn back on the storm reports just in case something pops up where anybody sees a funnel cloud or any kind of damage. We'll have that alert on the screen right away. So zooming in on this threat here where Brett Adair has been, to be honest, it looks like that base velocity is showing less and less likelihood of having a tornado on the ground. Now, one thing to make mention of, we'll take a look at Brett Adair right now, who is here, and I'll just kind of let you guys know that we have a couple of different types of air masses running into each other right now. And so really the threat for tornadoes is a little bit lower than what I think it looked like it could have been about 24 hours ago, just because of how things are moving together. They're not colliding very quickly. They're kind of riding alongside each other where the cold front is. It's not a whole mass of cold air running right into air moving in off the Gulf. It's a little bit more side by side with this flow of air from the north and air from the south. And that's just mellowing it out. It's making it less likely to be turbulent and have tornadoes. But you can see a lot of debris on the roads here. So where Brett Adair is in Montgomery does show signs that as that tornado warning passed over, there were some wind gusts, probably about 60 miles an hour or so, right where he is, just barely on that southeast portion of Montgomery as he's heading into Pike Road. There are leaves all over the ground. So clearly we haven't seen any snapped trees, which is a great sign that there was not a tornado on the ground, but there would have been gusts about 50 to 60 miles per hour with that debris that we just saw him pass by. Just loose leaves and, a couple more there. Branches looked like they were all under an inch wide. So these would be really small things. And now, hey, the wind gusts are coming up here in North Georgia where I am. So we'll continue to have heavy rainfall no matter what, and some damaging winds possible through the night. So as I'm looking at the radar, it really looks like this tornado couplet is kind of falling apart. Once again, it's on a low end of having a tornado warning along with it, that low threshold. But I'll take a step back here. We'll look at the regular. Oh, looks like this got changed. I'll turn on the high resolution radar now, and I will turn off the base velocity, and we'll be able to see that typical radar you're used to seeing. That hook echo is gone. In fact, we're seeing like a retraction, more of like an outflow now right here. If this happens to hook the other way in the northern hemisphere and comes out this side, that's what we saw earlier. And even kind of these little notches like this, that can be a region where new rotation or tornadoes form and funnels form. But local storm reports are on and don't have any reports of actual damages as this storm with the tornado warning passed over Montgomery, now heading toward Pike Road. We're going right over Pike Road, Alabama, as we speak. So these are good signs as it continues to track east. That storm is going to be moving right between, I think it's Fredericksburg. Is that right? Fitzpatrick. Okay, there. Right between Fitzpatrick and Hardaway, Alabama. And so zooming out, we still only have these couple of storm reports from that same storm system where trees had been knocked down now about a couple hours ago. A new tornado warning has, however, been issued. This is a very small one. And so this is Louisiana that we're looking at right now. Just north of Marksville, there's this little itty-bitty tornado warning. So with respect to give it some reference for people, this is just east of Alexandria, north of Marksville, Louisiana, where the active tornado warning is blinking in red. So, I'm going to go ahead and check out that base velocity once again on this storm system. So I'll have to turn on the radar site selectors and switch that so that we can now see from a different point of view. We'll look at the radar coming out of Louisiana. And so anything green is heading toward that radar station right here. Anything red is moving away. And there is just that slight sign of some rotation in that area. So this is somewhere north of Marksville. If you're going through there on the road right now, I would just suggest, not driving right through that. If you know anybody that has to take that route, that would be something that north of Marksville, Louisiana, I'd suggest avoiding. And then otherwise, at least take cover if you're within that area. It's not the tightest tornado couplet, but there's definitely some rotation going on. And looking at other radar imagery too that I have access to, it is looking like there's some 90 to up to 100-mile-per-hour wind speeds within this storm, maybe even about 120. That's going to be higher up at the cloud level. So unfortunately, we don't have any storm chasers in this area to kind of get eyes on it. It is very rural. This is going to be south of DeVille, Louisiana. And so I'm going to find out if there's any other towns included in this warning. Where I'm circling here is Marksville, Louisiana. DeVille, Louisiana is this region. And right in between is this tornado warning blinking in red. And so aside from, there's a lot of towns in between. Actually, we have Vic. So Vic was hit, this region between Effie, Moncla, Vic, they got hit about 2 months ago when we were in a live stream. There were some trees down. They're very rural regions right there next to the Red River. So the Red River is running right through this warning area. Again, between DeVille and Marksville, Louisiana. Tornado warning has been extended now at this point. So that's going to go from Vic into Brulette, and then areas like Argo and Book, Louisiana, all along the Red River. In Louisiana, we have this blinking red for a tornado warning right now. It truly, it's not looking that much like it's active tornado on the ground. We don't have any observation of it, but because it's such a rural place, there's a lot of times we don't get any eyes on it telling the National Weather Service. So if you happen to live in this area or know someone that does, and they are able to safely be a storm spotter like emergency management does, or people who want to volunteer with National Weather Service, work as storm chasers, if you can safely see that, or there's some kind of funnel, what you can do is call the local National Weather Service office. Just go to weather.gov and then look up your current location to see who your storm report would go to get that phone number, because that can help people a lot when these warnings are going on. But from what I can see on radar, these would be about 120-mile-per-hour winds at the cloud level with a chance of reaching down to the ground here and there, right around Vic, Louisiana right now. And then honestly, got a little bit stronger here in the last return. So this radar imagery is going to update in just a moment. And it looks a little more like it has gotten stronger here near Vic, Louisiana. That then would be heading toward Book, north of Brulette, Louisiana, then toward Argo and Book, Louisiana, in about 30 minutes here. And then seeing where Ridgecrest is, because we have Ridgecrest right on the outside of this. So think south of Ridgecrest, Louisiana, coming up in about 20-30 minutes. This tornado warning could still be active, most likely will be, with possible rotation and damages with wind speeds up to about 120 miles per hour if we get something touching down to the ground. Currently still radar indicated. And I have a feeling that Scott Peak, storm chaser, would be heading toward that area. So we'll check back in with him, and I'll just make mention of the storm meteorologist Brett Adair is on, where there is a additional tornado warning that is now southeast of Montgomery, Alabama. It does look like it is weakening a bit. So here is our view from Scott Peak. I'll bump this up a little bit, and we'll be able to see exactly where he's at. Brookhaven, Mississippi still. So this is where a severe thunderstorm warning just passed by. And it really is not all that close to the tornado warning that is active right now in Louisiana and now also across the border into Mississippi. And so, going from Vic, Louisiana, with a tornado warning right now, those other towns, some of them that I had mentioned on the north and east side of the Red River, would be in Mississippi. So, sooner than later, about an hour from now, some little bits of the towns that are on the east side of the tornado warning are heading toward Brookhaven. So Scott Peak is in line to have that same storm cell that we were just looking at on radar with the active tornado warning in Louisiana near Vic and the Red River. And this is going to possibly be moving right over him. And so definitely that storm will be overhead. And there's just a little chance that that tornado warning gets expired by then and does not look like there's any more rotation included with it. But that's something that we'll be keeping an eye on here. And so I'm going to check in with the comments again, make sure I have all the latest information. Someone saying turn on your headlights. Yeah, not a bad idea in this rain. A lot of vehicles are now equipped with doing that for you. And so I'll go ahead and get that ad out of the way. Now back to the radar. So I'll show you where Scott Peak is. Brookhaven, where I'm circling. This is then in line for the tornado warning flashing here that is currently in Louisiana. So I'd love to see some more town names populate on this map, but unfortunately, it goes by population here with the barren weather that we're using. And so I'll show you where the Mississippi border is, where I am moving my cursor right now. And that then anything on this east side of the river and that darker black line, this is all Mississippi. But we do still have this tornado warning mainly affecting Louisiana. It's not looking like the strongest chance for rotation right now, but that is currently leaving Vic, Louisiana, and will soon be near Book and Acme, Louisiana. After that, we do have Mississippi. And so areas that could very well be affected by this next in Mississippi would be cities like Possum Corner, Knoxville, and into Brookhaven after that. McCall Creek, Bude, where Scott had been earlier, and Meadville. So we will be keeping a close eye on this. I'm going to scan through real quick again, make sure that none of these have been seen on the ground. Still pulling up as radar indicated and still looking to me just based off this base velocity that their rotations are staying up at the cloud level. And I think one of the reasons we might not be getting reports for funnel clouds today is that they're not really well defined and there is so much rain that it would be pretty hard to see. So currently we do still have these two active spots blinking red where there are tornado warnings going on, but nothing's on the ground. I'm pretty sure of that. There may be some tree damages, a little bit of damages through the fields between Vic and Book and Acme, Louisiana, going on now as that tornado warning passes into Mississippi next. And so what we have here, then I'm going to circle on the map. Alexandria is where I clicked this warning from. Just a mile east out of the center of town there, broadcast media sent a photo of flooding on Broadway Avenue. So Broadway and Alexandria, where there's just so much concrete, the water came down so fast, probably about 4 to 5 inches. We'll get those exact totals later on. But look to be on radar between 3 and 6 inches for different parts of Alexandria area. That's where there's an active flood warning ongoing. But we'll go ahead and take a peek now that we know things are pretty calm, somewhat calm on this base velocity imagery that shows where the tornadoes could be. It's a pretty low chance that they'd be on the ground right now, just something that could pop down and cause damages. Not what I wanted to do. So here we can see now what kind of rain might be heading over Alexandria. Now, these little homes, these are where there's been ongoing flooding already. And so as I zoom into Alexandria, Louisiana, you can see the entire region here that's included in that flood warning right now. So that includes Pineville as well, and surrounding areas from Alexandria. That will be ending soon, though. So we'll take a look if there's anything. Gonna get a little bit of break. I do think actually this next storm system could very well be passing overhead there. Let's see how it's moving. Happy to see it's coming in smooth again. So yeah, the bulk of the rain just left Alexandria. It's gonna be another 2 to 3 hours before this little batch of rainfall ends up making its way close to the same area. With the track that's going right now, I believe that this next round of rain will be a little bit further north on that north side of Alexandria and northward. So it may not overlap the same flood warning that's already ongoing. So again, that'd be great for the drought. Just be a little careful as these thunderstorms pass by where you see the reds. It's just really heavy rain, and it's going to continue to be that way. So you can use the United Cajun Navy weather app to make sure that you know what's on the roadways or what's about to be coming your way by playing this out and seeing where things are going, or even by selecting the storm track. That's something available in the app as well as right here. I'll turn that on so you can see what I'm talking about. But you can tell from these lines, these arrows, where these storms are going next. So although this is currently pointed at this direction, I think we'll get a little bit of a northward trajectory going north of Alexandria in the end, just because of how things are flowing later on. But these storm tracks have been really good for these shorter term areas like this. This is a special feature that we have from Barron that uses special mathematics to get this information. And it's almost like, we would have a near hook echo forming here, which would indicate a stronger chance for a tornado on the ground, where that blinking red is heading from Louisiana near Vic, Acme, Book, Louisiana into Mississippi, but it's not quite a hook echo. And so, yeah, we're still doing pretty good as far as that's concerned, but it looks like there could be some hail near Philadelphia, Mississippi that we'll look at in a minute. But I'm happy to celebrate first here real quick. That tornado warning has dropped by Montgomery, Alabama. So good news here. Got some hail that could still be falling in that area. What actually just got put up here is that Pike Road had 1 inch hail in Alabama from the storm, as there was a tornado warning. I don't see any proof of that ever hitting the ground as far as the tornado on the ground. So that's great news. It does look like we might be having some hail south of Philadelphia. It'd probably be like dime size, pea size hail. Some small stuff north of Union in Mississippi, where there's also some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts heading over there east toward DeKalb later on. That could continue to have those same types of hazards. So a couple trees down here and there is possible. Now we do have some storm track information here. Let's see what's brand new and the locations now going toward Deer Park in 13 minutes. These are Louisiana locations right now at the top of this list. Esperance Landing, Hutchins Landing, those are both in about 20 minutes. Ellis Cliffs, a minute later. 25 minutes from now, just about, is when we have this tornado warning due to be over Sibley, Louisiana, Cloverdale, Louisiana, and Linwood. So in about a half hour, that's then into Hawthorne, Louisiana. So do be conscientious of what's going on with the tornado warning between Louisiana and Mississippi. Just left the Vic area. The hail is not such a big threat there, but also some flooding could be coming from this. Minor Red River flooding possible in a couple parts, or Then, if we see this crossing over any of the more condensed city areas or by highways that are low lying, there could be some more flooding going on there. And we do have a brand new tornado warning here. This is going to be between Louisiana and Mississippi border. Something that we were tracking earlier, where I thought, kind of looked like there could be signs of early rotation. This is going to be heading over Tylertown, Mississippi. That would be one of the bigger towns here included in this particular tornado warning. So what I'll do then is take a look at the base velocity on my phone. If it looks like anything that we should be turning our attention to here, I'll open that up for you. It looks a little messy right now. Honestly, it doesn't look like a very distinct rotation. It just kind of shot up, started on the radar, showing that there's signs of opposing wind direction. So that could turn into more of an outflow situation where we don't have a tornado on the ground. Whereas what we were looking at before that, both radar indicated, but in Louisiana, heading toward Natchez area, a little south of Natchez, that one looks a little more distinct, like there could be some damages on the ground. This brand new tornado warning between Louisiana and Mississippi is less likely to be on the ground right now, but something that we should watch as that beginning rotation just started showing up on the radar. And so we will check back in with Scott Peak, who is in line to see this tornado warning. Perhaps he is faced that way, and we can get an idea of what the incoming storm looks like. So here is Scott in Tylertown, Mississippi. So he is positioned right inside of the next tornado warning. He made his way from being on track to have that other tornado coming toward him to making his way to the one that was a little closer to him. Tylertown, Mississippi has some rain, really heavy rain that's about to pass over. Now, after the first batch of rain passes, that's when we're going to be seeing a chance for the rotation to pass over. So I'm going to take a moment to share this in some groups in that area where we've done some relief work in the past and got associated with. I'll go ahead and just make sure that they're aware this is coming their way. So I'll be quiet for just a moment. So saying Tylertown, Mississippi, tornado warning incoming after a heavy round of rain and 5-minute break. So there's going to be about a 5 to 10 minute break in the rain before there is rotation overhead. Now, it's important to note this is radar indicated, but it could become confirmed. And so we would have Scott Peak there to help with that. Our storm chaser, Scott Peak, is sharing his live view. And so we are now going to switch to the base velocity here. I want to keep a closer eye on this one, and then we'll switch back to Scott Peak. So if we come here and scoot over to these Louisiana/Mississippi tornado warnings, I'll go ahead and select a new radar site so we can get a close look at what's going on in each one of them with the rotation. Green next to red means that we have some kind of a circulation at the cloud level. And whether or not that gets down to the ground is not something that we can necessarily see on this radar, but at least we know there is that rotation. And so that's the reason why we have storm chasers out there, storm spotters, emergency management, law enforcement that will position themselves in a safer place to keep an eye on these things as they pass by. So I'm going to go ahead and save this view so that we can return back to it, but get a look, at what Scott's doing. So in the bottom right corner is where I've been moving around that radar I'm talking about here. And then we also see in the middle here of these circles, Brett Adair is making a quick stop for gas after he has gone through that tornado warning that now expired. So his stuff is over right now. I'll go ahead and hide that. As far as having some storm threats, some major damages or tornadoes, we saw that some leaves had fallen around Montgomery, Alabama. There was some hail just to the southeast that was about an inch wide. And now in Tylertown, Mississippi, getting very heavy rainfall that looks like it may be, it's definitely kind of bugging up Scott's stream. So he's on his Starlink right now. And a lot of times when we get Starlink to interact with a bunch of heavy rain, as that's getting to be a torrential downpour in that area in Tylertown, Mississippi, it is now kind of glitching just a little bit. I see it's back now. And so I'm going to keep an eye on his stream just in case anything turns tornadic. Until then, we'll just take another little look here, close up at the radar on each one of the active tornado warnings. So in Louisiana, heading toward Book, heading toward Acme, right along the Red River, kind of leaving the Red River area, this is where there's some slight rotation at that cloud level showing up. Now, on the border of Mississippi and Louisiana, further into the east, this is now including Tylertown, Mississippi, with a tornado warning. That rotation right now is just to the southwest of Tylertown, Mississippi. So I'm going to let you know other towns that are a little bit smaller in population are not showing up on this map. It's very rural as far as the region goes where I'm circling now. And so there aren't as many homes that could get damaged, but there are a few. There's a few homesteads, some farmland out there, some churches, and they're just few and far between. So we'll be hoping that nothing gets damaged in those areas. But one of the towns in the middle here, right where this rotation is passing over now, is Progress. So that would be called Progress, Mississippi. And then they have, a smaller population, but some scattered homes here and there, small neighborhoods, right where this rotation is now. So I'm going to just double check, make sure that I do have the local storm reports on. I do, just in case anybody sees a funnel cloud that will be populated on this map right away. And I'll also take a quick look here at our comments section. Seeing Deborah now has added in storm shelters, partial underground, dirt covered arch, or literal concrete hobbit hillside home. Yeah, these are good ideas for some storm shelters. One of my neighbors here in Georgia has one of the hobbit hillside homes. So some of these, if you have any kind of hillside, you can have like kind of a bunker built where there's a door you go into. But it's a great idea to have some kind of a storm shelter set up, especially underground. That's always number one. And also important to register those with your fire department. In that case, if a really strong tornado came and flattened everything and you got trapped inside your storm shelter, they already have access to shelters that they should be searching. So that can give them a leg up on helping you out of there if you end up trapped. And so again, this is about to approach Tylertown, Mississippi with a tornado warning. There is another one heading toward Book, Acme area of Louisiana. And I want to make sure that we are keeping up with Scott Peak, storm chaser in the field right now in Tylertown, Mississippi, because he's going to be catching this wave of tornado warning. That rotation will be moving from Progress, Mississippi, over Scott very soon. And now, unfortunately, I'll keep seeing these pop up because I'm not logged into my personal YouTube, it's on one that's not premium, and so it will continue to have an ad here and there, but I'll fix that. I'm going to go ahead and check in with Scott Peak, actually, see if he is available to maybe talk to you guys about what he's seeing and what the other storm chasers are catching on their streams. Now he should, he usually has his hands free available to.
Maybe we have lightning strike here in Tylertown and it's on fire. There's smoke coming up.
Oh no, something did light on fire. I've been watching your stream and saw the lightning strike. So I thought you might have more intel. How about, is it okay? Yeah.
We got a big house fire. It's on the stream, on the bottom part of the stream now. It's off in the distance, but the lightning's hitting houses here in Tylertown.
Oh, bummer. Yeah, there's been a lot of, there's the smoke. So what we're looking at here, Scott Peak, our storm chaser, is telling us that smoke rising up after a lightning strike. So yeah, buildings could be affected here. There's a ton of lightning right now, Scott. A lot of them were positive strikes too, that are really strong, you know?
Yes. And we also have strong rotation about 8 miles southwest of Tylertown coming. It's going to pass almost just south of Tylertown, I think. But there's rotation starting to increase.
Yeah, we appreciate your view. I've been jumping back and forth from the radar to you. I thought it might be worthwhile to pick up your audio on the stream. Okay. And then, so yeah, I'll go ahead. If you're prepared for that, you could maybe fill people in on what's going on, or because I know you have this channel where all your other storm chasers you communicate with are on radio together.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Sorry, it's a lot. Little hairy at the moment, so I might not have much to say at the moment because of these. Just everything's getting kind of crazy, but I'm here in Tylertown. I'm on the east side. Sorry, it's a little hairy at the moment, so I might not have much to say at the moment because of these. Just everything's getting kind of crazy, but I'm here in Tylertown. I'm on the east side. I'm gonna turn the vehicle back around here. I'll show you the house fire. I've got some feedback on your audio, by the way, Amy.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I have it up, but it's traffic tracking a little.
Oh, you're okay.
Probably the Starlink and all the rain.
So there's a fire. It's an abandoned house that's on fire from what I just got intel on. The house got struck by lightning. Here, this would be just south of... I'm getting feedback on your end. I can hear myself talking.
Because it's getting really back and forth, like it's breaking a lot.
Oh, yeah.
From the audio on our side, and it's feeding through, so I just need to see right here.
Understand.
So he's clearing that.
Gotcha.
Reiterate the info on all this your audio then, and thanks for the details.
Yeah, no problem. And, I got... Yeah, sounds good. That rotation's just myself here, and I'm gonna see if it does and go from there.
All right, stay safe. Okay, so since this was breaking up quite a bit with the audio, I apologize for that. Chief Meteorologist Amy Metz back. That was our storm chaser Scott Peak that was talking from Tylertown, Mississippi. And with all the breaking in the audio, I want to make sure you're aware, we were looking at smoke on the screen. It was an abandoned house, according to another storm chaser that Scott's in communication with now via radio. So they are awaiting a tornado warning. Rotation is in the sky, right where he's facing. And at the same time, we see a lot of lightning strikes. Something you can track on the United Cajun Navy weather app is the lightning. You can add that as an overlay. And today, looking at that, it's hard to find an app with this. We could see a lot of them with positive signs on them, that means it's a positive lightning strike, which can be literally 1 billion volts. This is like 10 times stronger than typical cloud to ground lightning. And unfortunately, one of these abandoned homes reportedly got hit in Tylertown, Mississippi, that then showed a lot of smoke coming up. So there has been a fire from this. At least there's a lot more rain about to pass. So you're seeing kind of a little bit of a break right now before the active tornado warning, the rotation moves overhead of Tylertown, Mississippi. At that point, it is going to rain a lot more. So hopefully that fire can get put out. All of the rain that already just fell in Tylertown will reduce that risk for spread of the fire. But here it is, that smoke plume right now. As Scott awaits that tornado warning that had sent rotation from Progress, Mississippi, currently heading now toward Tylertown, Mississippi. At this point, Tylertown is really close to that rotation, but on a good note, it looks like the rotation is really weakened as far as showing circulation that could have a funnel cloud with it or tornado. It's kind of falling apart on that side. And I'm looking at that, basing that off of the base velocity imagery we've been showing back and forth during this stream. And so we do still, however, moving from Red River in Louisiana into the Mississippi border, another tornado warning that does look a little more likely to be able to be doing little minor damages. However, it's an extremely desolate area, a lot of farmland. It makes it a very low likelihood that any of those damages will be occurring at somebody's house. And so now Todd, here we go. Our founder, then he has just texted me. It looks like Brett Adair at this point. He may be in another tornado warning. Okay, no, it's not active. Great. I'll read you the message that he sent. And continue to just keep an eye on Scott's stream, as our most likely chance for a tornado would be Tylertown, Mississippi, but there's no proof that it's been on the ground. Brett Adair is saying, oh, wow, that's pretty bad. I wonder what happened. So I don't know if I should repeat this, but it's already live on the internet anyway. Brett was in a tornado warning that left Montgomery, Alabama. He then stopped at a gas station. He's saying that the racetrack at Taylor Road, Troy Highway, locked everyone out of the store during a tornado warning. So this storm has been gone for 30 minutes and the place is still locked. He says, sounds like a liability. And in fact, a lot of gas stations have signs inside with tornado shelters being used inside bathrooms. Sometimes there's other spaces where there are places you can stay safe. I myself, as a kid, what inspired me to be a meteorologist, I was in a tornado. And, it's scary to think about, but we were able to stay safe because a Flying J let us in. And that, it's scary. I can't imagine if somebody had been there and really needed to get inside. Thankfully, this tornado warning was not confirmed. It was not doing damages on the ground. But that's a very fine line sometimes. Sometimes we have an actual tornado on the ground that does not have the warning with it of being confirmed. It's not until it's on the ground and starting to do damage that the National Weather Service could even be notified. So there's always going to be at least a 2 to 5 minute gap between the point that there's damages ongoing and that point that we get notifications on our phone that say it's confirmed, that for sure it's on the ground. And so pretty unfortunate situation there. I hope that that can get dealt with properly so that, management may know later not to do that. I can't imagine that Racetrack as a company would want that. So there may be something else going on, where for whatever reason they had to lock the doors. Even perhaps, what if that manager, someone got scared, they just left and walked out and went home and locked the doors because they didn't want to be there. But that's not the best policy. Don't think the company-wide policy would be to lock the doors. So thankfully, was not on the ground in Alabama. And what we're looking at now is another chance for a tornado, but we're still not getting any confirmation that it's ever been on the ground here, heading toward Tylertown, Mississippi. This crossed the border from Louisiana as a tornado warning. But at every stage, we have been tracking this. It has gone from looking like there could be some more defined circulation going on to switching back right now as it's moving toward Tylertown, more disorganized rotation. So really up at the cloud level, pretty weak. Wind speeds around 70, 50 miles per hour. Not looking like this would be a full-blown tornado heading toward Tylertown anymore. We did, however, get Scott Peak to let us know that there was reportedly an abandoned home on fire that he saw the lightning strike from. He saw the smoke come up. They're about to get hit with rain. So, yeah, we're just hoping that that can be put out sooner than later. And so, double checking our comments here now. Thank you for ideas about storm shelters for prayers, turning on headlights. And then, Montgomery area. Our first comment there from Linda about the heavy rain in Montgomery. That is now out of the picture. There is still, however, as we continue to watch this active tornado warning that's heading toward Tylertown, Mississippi. I'll just kind of give you a brief overview of what else is going on right now. And I'm going to be doing this from the United Cajun Navy weather app. So if you want to follow along or use that as well, you can click the map when you open it up and then go into the settings tab and the overlays, add in all alerts. So with all alerts selected, what I can do is see all the different storm warnings. So over Alexandria, if you tap on them, then you can get a full-blown message of everything that's ongoing there. And with Alexandria, Louisiana, there is another chance for some rain coming up. They're already under a flood warning. And it does look like this next batch of rain, they've gotten about like 3 to 6 inches in some places in the Alexandria area, Pineville, and the south side of Alexandria. But now it looks like it's going to be a little bit further north of Alexandria in Louisiana, where in about an hour and a half, there's more heavy rain that's going to fall. And so that could result in some new flood warnings too. But they shouldn't last too long, however. We're going to see them reignite over and over, day after day through the weekend, with totals in the end for this whole last week then being as high, possibly in some areas, as up to a foot of rain. So this is great news for the drought. Now, most places will be getting closer to about 6 inches across the southeast, somewhere between 4 and 6. As we look at when things start to stop around Sunday night, if we look at that week preceding, so from this last Sunday through this Sunday coming up, a lot of places getting about 4 to 6 inches of rain. That does include at least probably about 1 or 2 inches over the areas that had been on fire in Georgia. So thankfully, with the last couple rounds of weather going through, we've seen a reduction in that, a huge help. And so now this single fire that we saw from Scott Stream here in Tylertown likely is about to get put out with this next round of rainfall coming through. So that tornado warning does remain active, but it's getting smaller. And on radar, it is looking, let's see, a little even less likely that it is going to turn into a tornado now at this point. It's getting smaller in size. And then Scott is just keeping an eye on that cloud. We're looking right at where the cloud is rotating via radar. But that area of rotation getting a little bit smaller while the speed looks like it's increasing just a little bit, closer to about 80 miles per hour. And so it's really nice with all the tornado warnings we've been covering. I still have yet to see any damages aside from the trees down that were in Alabama earlier. Let's see. There is another couple of things here actually now. Okay, so they just came in. I'll spout you off a couple more tornado well, where the tornado warning was, these are damages that are reported. This coming near Montgomery, Alabama. There's a few more reports. So just to the north of Montgomery, 1 mile southwest of Guntner Air Force Base in Alabama, an emergency manager has said that at 5 o'clock there he had seen a tree down along West Warringwood Drive in Montgomery. And so that would have fallen not, soon, early, not too much earlier than that. Also, right around 5 o'clock, looks like the same emergency manager. This report just got doubled. So it's just that one outside of Guntner, pretty much north side Montgomery there, with another tree down. And so that's the kind of damage that we were calling for in the stream. It did not look like there'd be a full-blown tornado on the ground, but there were absolutely, it was getting kind of close where some of those bursts of wind would be likely to be dropping some trees. And then a little bit further to the east, still very close to Montgomery, another report of flooding has come in. It's 2 miles south of Huntington College. That was street flooding reported by public. Meanwhile, this Tylertown, Mississippi tornado warning does look like there's absolutely nothing on the ground. We have that full view from Scott, and things look to be weakening on base velocity. Those hail reports that came in by Mount Meigs County, Montgomery, Alabama. So Mount Meigs being the city, we're getting anywhere from about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch hail. Oh goodness, this one says a trained spotter with 2.75 inch hail along Interstate 85 and Exit 10. Now, when we were looking at radar from that storm, it did look like there was a very small area of that storm that had larger hail between 2 and 3 inches. So some of that area where that tornado warning had passed and has now turned into a severe thunderstorm warning right around Montgomery, that'd be just to the east of Montgomery. There were some areas north of Pike Road, Alabama, that had nearly 3 inch hail. And then that reduced down to 1 inch hail outside of Fort Davis as the storm continued to move east southeast. So that now over Hurtsboro, Pittsview, Alabama, some small chances for some hail, but we're not really looking at a risk for a tornado in that area at this point. And what's over Tylertown, just continues to look weaker and weaker on base velocity. And we can tell from Scott's stream also that we're looking at live from Tylertown, Mississippi, that there was no evidence of anything on the ground. We didn't even see a funnel cloud really except for the very beginning. It kind of looked like he had a bit of a funnel with this storm system. I have a good feeling this tornado warning is about to expire and drop off the map completely, but we'll continue to hold on Scott's live view just in case anything changes as it's moving toward a pretty populated city. The worst that we saw from that storm was hit in his stream as an abandoned home was hit by lightning and caught on fire. Now, just south of Ridgecrest, I think that's on the Louisiana side here. Yes. So south of Ridgecrest, Louisiana, there is another active tornado warning. It's the closest one to having something that looks like there could really be a tornado on the map right now. As soon as we know for sure that Scott is in the clear, that Tylertown, Mississippi will absolutely not have a tornado, even though the warning is ongoing. When that's done, we'll switch back to the more desolate rural region south of Ridgecrest, Louisiana, and we'll take a look at that base velocity imagery where there's another active tornado warning ongoing. And in the meantime, I'm going to just check the comments, see if anybody has more input, storm reports, or questions here. We do have one more here. Hang Molina asking Tylertown, Mississippi. So tornado, when did it stop? We have actually still an active tornado warning ongoing, and that's because there's rotation at the cloud level that scientists can see from the National Weather Service. They'll be the one that issues that report, but we've never actually had a confirmation of this being on the ground. Everything that I have experienced, watching and tracking with these storm systems tells me that there could have been a couple places with a little bit of damage. We might be hearing soon that a tree went down here or there, but there was really no distinct reason to say from base velocity imagery that there was actually a tornado on the ground. And we have not had any confirmed storm spotters, chasers, emergency management say that they saw anything on the ground. And just simply because there is that rotation still somewhat appearing on base velocity, a special type of radar I'll show you in just a moment. That's why there was a tornado warning issued and still is ongoing. Tylertown is about to be in the clear from that completely. But like Scott Peak was saying earlier, if you heard the call we had, he was thinking that this rotation would really go kind of south of Tylertown. At this moment, they're right in the middle of that kind of rotation. If you think about the center of Tylertown, that is where that border begins to have a tornado, a little bit of rotation with it. It's really south of Tylertown now. I'm going to go ahead and just switch this view now so that you can see the radar I'm talking about. And this is really not well defined anymore, but southeast of Tylertown, this whole area that's been rotating, it moved pretty close to the south side of Tylertown, but part of that area actually stayed somewhat dry during this period. And that, what we're looking at on the screen, the blinking red, is a tornado warning, but the imagery we're getting back is not indicative of a tornado on the ground. So this is absolutely weakening, falling apart with any kind of chance for rotation. I have a really good feeling this is going to be expired soon. In Tylertown, you are in the clear. When it comes to the next storm, though, with a tornado warning in it, this one has been extended. It does look like this area between Louisiana and Mississippi. This is just south of Natchez. I'll go up a little. You can see Vidalia here. Natchez is in this region too, so a little south of that in Louisiana. And then we have the border of Mississippi right here. So we have Mississippi with Highway 61. We now have a whole new region with tornado warning. So I'll go ahead back to the next storm system in just a moment and show you that regular radar. But first, I want to take a moment to call out any of the cities that you're not really seeing on the map here that are being affected right now. That's going to be Concordia, Louisiana, and Adams, Mississippi. Those would be the counties. And so we're going from, let's see, right along, it's going to be passing the Mississippi River from the Louisiana border into Mississippi right now as we speak. This is completely rural, desolate. There's really hardly even a home in this area. I mean, that's a major floodplain. And so it's not until the other side of the border here into Mississippi where we start to get some chances for a tornado to be anywhere near town. That's gonna be Sibley. Sibley, Mississippi is in this area. So that's one of the first areas in about 5 to 10 minutes that we would be expecting the chance for some kind of damages that would actually be reported. Now, hoping that that does not become the case, that they can stay in the clear there. But until then, we'll just keep tracking this. We don't have any eyes on that storm, but the base velocity imagery is very helpful. And so I'm opening up again our storm reports here. We have all of these exclamation marks, little icons of the home or thunderstorm. These are areas where people have sent in storm reports. Not having had anything about the fire posted here, where an abandoned home was reportedly hit. That information came to us from Scott Peak, who could show us the smoke. We saw the lightning strikes. And it was some of the storm chasers he's communicating with on radio that had reported seeing an abandoned home on fire with that from where that smoke was rising that we could see on his video. Now, blinking red are these tornado warnings, but behind them, we haven't had any storm reports. Nobody's saying that they saw a funnel cloud. Nobody's saying that there were damages yet, like what we have reported here with some trees down right to the north side of Montgomery, Alabama from about an hour ago, some hailstones ranging from about a half an inch up to 2.7 inches. More trees down from that same storm system couple hours ago, 2, 3 hours ago, as it was tracking toward the east. Now, this is a big flood warning area across Montgomery as well as Alexandria. So there have been some roads flooded over. Alexandria, Louisiana is about to get hit with another round of heavy rain. Now, I suspect that any of these areas in Mississippi or the Hattiesburg, for instance, the south, just south of Hattiesburg, it's going to be next in line for that really heavy rainfall and possible tornado warning if that continues to get extended. But I really doubt it based on what I can see here on base velocity. Now, our other storm damages is that looking at not long ago, about 15 minutes ago, from a severe storm that passed by, an emergency manager reported that trees were down on Highway 25 and that there was pea-sized hail. So that's coming out of central Mississippi, 2 miles southwest of Redwater. Aside from that, that same storm system dropped some hail a little bit to the east, reported at 1.75 inches. Coming in from Highway 21 south and Highway 448. That's right in this area of Mississippi. And then the other hail report looks like some of these are just, wow, also large. Yeah, 2.75 inches. So that's the same one doubled over in the same area, but one report is for 1.75 inches. One report is for 2.75 inches. So there are some areas here with some very large hail. Now, right now, that tornado warning was extended. This is then moving closer to Hattiesburg, Mississippi, as Tylertown is now in the clear. Heavy rainfall for sure. We have a little sign of a hook echo, but we hadn't seen anything on the ground. So I do feel like it's about time then to see Scott Peak's stream once again, who has been showing us that live view from the Tylertown, Mississippi area for the last like 30, 40 minutes or so as that storm was approaching. It had a more well-defined base velocity couplet that would kind of give us that sign that there is a tornado. And now at this point, it's pretty weak. Doesn't really look like it, but because they're still opposing wind directions within that storm system, coming in at about 100, 120 miles per hour at that cloud level, at least, there are still a tornado warning associated with that. Now, did extend. And so we have the two separate storm systems with tornado warnings attached. We'll see if Scott Peak has anything here to show us proof that that rotation at the cloud level is starting to drop down toward the ground, or vice versa. That, in fact, if you want to be technical, what's happening with the tornado is that wind is being pulled up from the ground. And so, I'm also seeing here a debris ball. It looks like one of the local meteorologists out of Tylertown says they saw a debris ball. Now, in some cases, that what he's looking at can happen when there's hail, and there was 2.75-inch hail. So there's a chance that rather than a debris ball, that was actually hail. So yeah, we'll see if, because what happens here on the kind of radar imagery that we have to look at as scientists, like National Weather Service, for instance, would be tracking this stuff to say whether or not there's actually a tornado on the ground. It was just to the southwest of Tylertown, Mississippi, that there happened to be something pop up on what's called correlation coefficient. What we're looking at when I just showed you the radar, that regular radar we see for rain and stuff, it's called base reflectivity. But when we look at the correlation coefficient style as a derived product, it will just pop up different colors and show you where things are different sizes, different shapes. And then oftentimes that can correlate with something like a 2x4 being lifted up into the air. doesn't look the same as a raindrop. And so that's where we can get that differentiation and kind of decide, like, oh, this looks like it's a bunch of debris in the air. But because this debris ball that was put out by that local media from Tylertown, because it's pretty much all one color, it tells me that those pieces being identified by the radar were actually very similar in shape and size. And so, hail, a lot of times it's going to be bigger. It's going to get detected on radar as something that looks different than the rain. But typically, we would be seeing blues rather than what I'm looking at as greens for that base velocity and correlation coefficient. Both kind of suggested that that was not quite a tornado doing damage. So there's still that chance that we'll see some storm reports coming in from that. I'll just seeing that the storm reports are on and there's still nothing popping up in this area southwest of Tylertown where that supposed debris ball was reported by local media. It does tell me that more likely it was hail that had fallen in that area. So if we end up with another report here showing that there was some damages, I will let you know. Once in a while, it takes a little bit of time for the emergency managers to get there and put in these reports for us to be able to reshare. So with Scott's view, it's really just been good signs all along. He actually was facing this storm at the time of that reported debris ball. And it looked like there was almost kind of a funnel starting to form up, but there was nothing concrete still to show that there was any tornado warning. I'm sure tomorrow National Weather Service employees will be out assessing these damages. So if you have any damages, you can call them into the offices, and then you'll get employees out assessing that area to determine whether or not there is damage to suggest something was on the ground. And so I will switch back now that we've had another extension of this tornado warning. Tylertown is completely in the clear in Mississippi, so we'll switch back to the radar that we're looking at in the bottom right here. And so this is now including Columbia with a tornado warning. And yes. So I'm just writing back some people giving me reports right now. All right, so yeah, hopefully we can get through this in the clear. Definitely, absolutely, the areas that are populated were not hit with any tornado. There's just this risk, as you see the blinking red, for a tornado to be there. We'll go ahead and switch back to that base velocity where we can see that rotation being more well-defined, what looks like more of an actual tornado representation in a pretty rural area, but approaching one that has a higher population near Sibley in Mississippi. And so with Sibley in mind, this would be passing over very soon, that rotation, like right now in the next 10 minutes. Then it would be Roxy, Mississippi, and Bude, Mississippi. So north side of Crosby in Mississippi could also be having some rotation overhead, some damages. As of yet, there's been no reports of any funnel cloud being seen. There's been no reports of damages, but it has been basically out over open fields, marshland, next to the rivers, Mississippi River. But this is now east of the Mississippi River, about to cross 61, Highway 61 in Mississippi by Sibley. So Roxy, Meadville, Bude, you can expect this kind of tornadic wind, possible rotation, funnel cloud, and maybe even a full-on tornado to be passing by in about 20 to 30 minutes from now. whereas Sibley is being affected right now. So hopefully nothing on the ground. We don't have confirmation of it being seen. And then a less likely scenario for something on the ground outside of Tylertown. This is now east of Tylertown, but we're seeing a lot of kind of sloppy greens and reds, as in not a well-defined tornado couplet like these circles that we see next to each other. This really indicates that rotation, that circular motion. And at this point, this warning on that left side, that would be, part of that Louisiana side of the storm mostly, is about to end. By Sibley here, we're kind of about to see this rotation ending in about 5 minutes, but it's absolutely a stronger chance for something that's actually doing damages, with wind speeds estimated around, I would put this at about 80, 90 miles per hour. Let's see if I can get the point query. So we're seeing this picking it up as 51 miles per hour, and the negative is simply just for the direction, based on, the other would be positive. And so that's just one moving toward the radar station and one moving away from the radar station. But really looks like it's weak and not something that would be doing any more damages. So double checking, still no confirmations of either one of these separate tornadic storm systems, at least with tornado warnings. No proof that they're on the ground right now. So I'm going to double check, see just how close Sibley is to the tornado warning that's passing overhead right now. That does look a little stronger. That we're looking at right now on the map looks stronger compared to the one that just left Tylertown area. So Possum Corner, that was another area that kind of, let's see, it looks like, yeah, Possum Corner is truly closer to where this rotation is. So right now, that rotation, Doloroso, Mississippi. Doloroso would be right around here. And so that north side of Doloroso in Mississippi is where that rotation really is, more so south of Sibley, between Sibley and Doloroso, these two towns. That's where that rotation is now heading toward Possum Corner in this region. So Possum Corner, small town in Mississippi, not too many homes, but could absolutely be devastating if anything were to form into a full-blown tornado and hit even one home. And so hoping that this continues to look weaker, which in this last update right now, we just saw it change a little bit. This is less likely to be a tornado. And what I'll do to kind of show you what I mean by that too is play this out. So when we see these kind of rotating and when they're more circular next to each other, I'll stop it here and go back one frame. This was looking a little more like a classic tornado couplet. And then in this latest loop, we still have this pinpoint area in the middle here where there could be something heading from Doloroso, Sibley, right between Sibley here and Doloroso here. Something is rotating at the cloud level, but it does not appear like this would be on the ground. So that's good news for Possum Corner, Mississippi, right over here. That is next in line for that storm to pass overhead. However, if you're in any of those cities, if you're in Roxy, Mississippi, Meadville, Bude, go ahead and take cover now. Anywhere in between, anywhere in that red blinking warning, I would suggest taking cover, except, the west side of this now is in the clear. And again, continuing to get weaker and weaker as that rotation that had been close to Tylertown, Mississippi, is now south of Columbia, Mississippi. So all good news. We do have, however, a new report. Good. I was hoping this wasn't going to be a damage report from a tornado, and it's not. These are hail icons. So 2 miles northwest of Tylertown in Mississippi, there was a hailstone found at 1.25 inches. Another one, a mile northeast of Tylertown, at 1.5 inches. So there were some hailstones reported, but I'm feeling pretty confident that emergency management, broadcast media, they would have had a chance by now to submit any kind of damages that we're seeing. Of course, we're not seeing that the fire is on here that was ignited by lightning. But that's not something that I typically see come up in these warnings. Not all agencies would be reporting that to the services that end up providing us results here. And so typically, though, we would see if there were trees down and types of tornado damages such as snapped power lines. Another thing I can do, however, is look at the power outages. That's another way that we sometimes will know there was a tornado somewhere with actual tornado winds. I'm forgetting where our power outage map is, so you can just maybe you'll see some of this stuff popping up as I keep looking through. Otherwise, I have another source I can use, but I could swear that we have, we have power outage maps on the United Cajun Navy weather app. And so I just assumed it would also be here in our Barron ThreatNet, but I'm not seeing it. So I'll go ahead while I let the radar loop and you guys can see everything, I'll go ahead and just take a look at power outages to let you know if there's anything to report on that end that might suggest we did have any kind of actual touchdown of tornado. Now, hey, my house got into the overnight tornado risk. So this tornado watch has extended now into Georgia. Unfortunately, I've got this storm coming toward me. So I'll keep you updated on those ones as well, able to show you my view from home if needed. Otherwise, we'll kind of stick with this, knowing that also we have Brett Adair live in the field near Montgomery. I'm going to check in on Reed Timmer, who also supplies, a lot of information for us, and we can share his stream as well if he's in something. Scott Peak, Tylertown, Mississippi area. With the speed that this storm is moving, I doubt he's going to keep up with it, but I'm going to just take a moment here to see about those power outages and where any of our chasers might be moving to next. So with Reed Timmer, he's in Macomb, Mississippi, which I know, I've driven through a lot. I think that's over here. He has a lot of rain. He is close to the active tornado warning in Mississippi. So I think it might be worthwhile actually to pull up his stream while I do the other investigation on different types of ways we could see who might have some damages. So Macomb, Mississippi. Right in this area, it's looking like, I'll go ahead and it's going to take me just a minute here to pull up his stream. And Brett is back on the move again as well. So Brett Adair has more heavy rain coming toward him in Montgomery, Alabama. Now I'm going to pull up Reed Timmer's stream since he is now our one storm partner on our team. The one that is closest to an active tornado warning. So while it is honestly looking a little bit weaker than the one that is closer to western Mississippi we've been showing, this will be the one that we have access to show you the live stream. So I'm going to have to kind of manipulate this so that you see his stream here the best. But we can see he has another teammate that is moving around that radar. And again, we're looking at base velocity, not the strongest couplet, but there's absolutely some rotation going on there with hints of about 90 mile per hour winds at the center of that. And so they're equipped with their storm chasing vehicle. You can see that his Dominator 3 is what he calls that in the bottom right corner there. This will be giving us the view of any kind of possible rotation in the sky, but there's been some heavy rain with these making it hard until they get to that point of a hook echo. So on the radar, you're going to be able to see zoomed in here in just a moment that regular style radar, really large here, so that you know what's coming their way. And I'm going to be keeping an eye on those storm reports. So where he is right in the center. Let's see, kind of looks like it's not. Yeah, it did update. So the bottom right corner is going to be the radar. You can see that there will then be a little bit of break and things on the front side before the rotation is overhead and the winds might kick up, but we're not seeing anything for sure on the ground. No reports of a confirmed tornado on the ground. His team, let's see, has not reported anything on the ground. So, yeah, hopefully it can stay that way. But looking at just how much rain is there in front of his vehicle, it is reducing visibility a little bit. And that can make it sometimes more difficult to get reports of something on the ground. And so I'll do what I was talking about earlier too. Looking at those power outages, I'm going to go on to the United Cajun Navy weather app, and there is a data section, like under the options there, where you can touch parish power outages for Louisiana, or you can hit state power outages. Now, even if you hit the parish outages, you're still getting confirmations of outages in other states too. And so we are looking at like 1%, less than like 5% of customers out of power in these areas. So that tells me it's a little more likely that those, there could be some wind damages from power lines snapping or the power poles snapping, but it's more likely that things are hit by lightning. With how much lightning we were seeing over Tylertown, those outages are pretty minimal to be from a tornado. But also, we know there was just so much lightning, so I wouldn't be surprised if that had been the case. And now that it's starting to dry up, crews should be able to restore a lot of these power outages tonight within the next few hours. All right, so I will take a look then. Now that we do know Reed Timmer, he is currently by Macomb, Mississippi. What we're looking at, tornado warning in that area. Still, nothing has been confirmed on the ground. It's coming in as a radar indicated tornado warning. Pretty weak on the base velocity radar, especially compared to the other tornado radar indicated tornado warning that is moving near Roxy and Bude, Mississippi. So that's leaving Possum Corner, Mississippi now, a whole nother warning for a tornado. But still, neither of these have been confirmed on the ground. We just definitely would want you to take cover, as things could change rapidly in these situations. And like what we're seeing on the screen now with that green and red so close to each other, those are representing wind speeds and directions. So there is still a chance that there could be some things falling over, trees falling over power lines, power poles, and that could be damaging, or a tornado could end up being confirmed here sooner than later. Just looking a little less likely. I would absolutely be going for cover, though, if I was, having to give advice there. And then their vehicle, they'll drive right into them if they're on the weaker end of tornadoes, like what we're seeing here right now. So checking in on meteorologist Brett Adair. He had some nice views of the tornado warning over Montgomery, Alabama, that did result in some downed tree reports, just a few, some flooded road reports, again, just really minimal. And then hail, though, between 1 and 2.75 inches wide. So that storm now closer to Columbia. And we're not seeing much from Reed Stream here as far as possible tornadic activity to help confirm, because everything's gotten so green, so filled in here over the last month or two, that, there's so much tree canopy in the way. So we'll see here if we can get a clear sky view. He's moving toward this circulation and also through what would be where the tornado warning had been. So we would be getting evidences of damages along his route in some cases. And so far, we have not seen any. With Brett Adair near Montgomery, we saw some limbs down. He did not end up crossing paths with the down trees that were reported by emergency management just to the north of Montgomery, one of the smaller suburbs on the north side there. So I'll go ahead and switch back to our radar view. And Scott Peak is in Bogalusa now in Mississippi, kind of more of a clear sky area. That's what we're looking at in the middle icon on the bottom right here. And we'll keep an eye on Reed Timmer Stream there, just in that small corner for the meantime. While I go ahead and just reference our comments section, see if anybody had more questions or any new reports to share. It's always appreciated when people can let us know what they're seeing if you are in the affected areas. We got some of those reports earlier. We do have a question from Chelsea asking if anything's hitting DeRidder. Now, I'm going to check that is, okay. I remember Louisiana has one. So if it's not Louisiana that you're talking about, go ahead and comment and let me know if you are speaking of another state there with the same city name. But DeRidder here is, I'm just going to make sure I know exactly where it is. It was on my radar here a little bit ago for something. So I'll make sure I get it right. I think they were just for heavy rain. It wasn't very far away from DeRidder that we actually had a tornado warning form, but it did not affect DeRidder. So let me move this around a little bit on the radar, and I'll show you on the map what is coming your way next, just in case you have another round of heavy rain. What I would say, the biggest chance in that area would have been a flood at this point, like just quick flooding. But what I'm seeing on radar is that there's actually nothing really coming your way anymore. DeRidder looks mostly in the clear. The other thing I can do to see if perhaps anything else new is going to form, because this yellow that we're looking at would still show that, let's see, DeRidder, I think you're, you're definitely, I don't think you're south enough. Let's zoom in real quick and make sure, but this is all tornado watch. So everywhere in the yellow is something that the national government forecasters have warranted as areas that could have possible tornadoes. So DeRidder, I do think, you are in the yellow. Just to be really clear here, I'll zoom in and go all the way up the sides, up to the southeast. Excuse me, this goes northeast. So I'm getting a little tired. Don't mind me. But Jasper, into Jasper, Texas. So being really obvious here, this is that Texas-Louisiana line. And then where the Mississippi River is, between Louisiana, Mississippi, that'll be that next area for another state line that we're going to be crossing through. So Jasper, Newton, Kirbyville, still in a tornado watch. I'm going to switch over to a different type of imagery to kind of decipher whether or not some of this area on the south side is really still at a risk. Because places like Opelousas, Louisiana, Oakdale, DeRidder, Rosapine, Leesville, still in a tornado watch. But to be honest, that south side, kind of like south of DeRidder, probably lower chances. There is a thunderstorm. I mean, there are these cells here that are moving to the east, northeast, kind of more northeast at this point. I'm getting a good feeling DeRidder is in the clear, to be honest. But aside from that, as we head to the northeast, before I switch that imagery, we're going from Jackson, Mississippi, up toward Vicksburg with this tornado watch ongoing. This goes down to parts of really like close to New Orleans, even. Because it's going to be Ponchatoula, Hammond, Tickfaw, Independence, Amy, Roseland, Montpelier, Kentwood, Magnolia, and then across the border into Macomb, Mississippi, where we had just seen Reed Timmer showing some of these storms from. So, still active tornado warnings blinking in the red that we will be viewing really soon here again in a different imagery. But Birmingham, Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Gadsden, Montgomery. Then we're going down to Columbus in Georgia, all the way not quite to Macon, but including Athens. We got Gainesville over here with a lot of, wow, that's about to be right at my house. So you might be hearing some of that soon. It looks like, yeah, I'm going to be getting hit. We have a severe thunderstorm warning coming toward us. But because there's so many mountains, we have a Lake Lanier right here. All of this valley before this would be hitting my house tends to spread out storms as they're coming my way and really reduce the risk for severe thunderstorms. But we just might have some trees falling in my yard here soon too. So as far as this tornado watch on the south side, that south side Louisiana, that'd be south of DeRidder, I kind of have a feeling that truly that higher risk for tornadoes is over. One way to prove that and really know what's coming that way, there we go. Even more proof. Great. It's pretty dry. So we're seeing that in the water vapor imagery. This is more of an infrared. I'll see if I can get the full on. Yeah, they don't have the water vapor here, but I'll look at that on another set because what we're looking at now with the gray is places where there's some clouds, where there's some visible moisture. And it is dry enough here to say that it's more in the clear. But as I'll play this out, as we see some of that drifting from Beaumont, things are still kind of traveling to the northeast. And so this next batch of light cloud could perhaps form one or two smaller storm cells that do become tornadic. So yeah, there's probably a good likelihood that this tornado watch, including DeRidder and even like Amy, Tickfaw area in Louisiana, will continue through the night, but the risk has really reduced. And you're only going to have that chance for a tornado if you actually see a thunderstorm heading your way. And so that's going to be in the next couple of about an hour or so, maybe hour and a half, as we could see. There is one storm on track to DeRidder from Texas. If this chain continues, that one on the south side here is more on track to go toward DeRidder. But yeah, to be honest, I do believe you're in the clear. There's just that small chance. And so just make sure you have ways to get warnings anywhere in the yellow zones here. All right, so I just had to get some water there. Now, if there are any other questions, you can let me know. To be honest, it looks like things are kind of calming down here. Glad to see that Tylertown got through everything okay, aside from the one fire that we saw from Scott Peak, from lightning strike. I'll go ahead back to that map view after I'm just, well, I'll double check. What we see in the bottom right corner is Reed Timmer's live stream. And that's to do with the storm right here, that still has a tornado warning associated with it. And, I see a whole new a hook echo is usually a sign we have a tornado on the ground for sure. Now, this is in the opposite direction, the one that Reed Timmer is near. We haven't seen any reports of that being on the ground. I would be more concerned about what's going on here, passing over Possum Corner, Mississippi, heading toward Roxy, personally. But we do have, a couple areas with ongoing tornado warnings, two of them in Mississippi right now. So we do have, yep, it has been observed on the ground now. This one is absolutely on the ground. And unfortunately, the wind speeds, as we've seen what's called a hook echo here, this little hook, uh, the wind speeds have jumped up in intensity. We're looking at something that looks like it. Let's see. I'll actually turn on the base velocity here for you too, so we can really talk through this together. But this is a less populated area heading over Possum Corner. There are some homes there, and so I would hope that everybody's okay. But if we switch to the velocity here, I'll do it another way so it looks cleaner. And then I'm going to change the radar site for us. See if I can get something that's a little more clear. This one will work better. So this has been seen on the ground doing damage, at least to trees. There is a batch of homes, is scattered here and there. But this area in Mississippi includes now Possum Corner in the clear. I believe Possum Corner should have this just passing over right now. It should have just ended. But next in line would be Butte and Meadville in Mississippi. And so this is one that has been looking like it could have been on the ground for a while, but all of a sudden has wind speeds that are closer to about 90 to 100 miles per hour showing up on the radar here. And just really hoping everybody can be okay with this. At least 71 miles per hour, which would be EF0 strength, is showing up on radar. This could very well, though, be up to 100 miles an hour right now. As we look at the area, I'm circling with the green and the red. That is going to be heading just south of Roxy, north of Crosby, Mississippi, in the next 10 minutes, and then toward Butte, Meadville area in Mississippi. Again, this has been seen on the ground. It's something that you need to take cover for if you're in this area. Possum Corner just got in the clear here in Mississippi from this active tornado that we know has been on the ground. Double checking. I've got my I'm checking to make sure, local storm reports are on. And therefore, if any kind of damage is done, we'll be getting some reports of that. I'm sure that there are some power outages going on in that area right now. Should be able to get repaired tonight for the most part with that. But heading just north of Crosby in a couple minutes in Mississippi is this active tornado warning. Definitely on the ground. Has been seen on the ground in the last 5-10 minutes. Now, I'm looking to see if there's any storm chasers we can share views from that have this in sight. One of them, who I don't usually haven't shown yet on our streams, is close by. I'll keep monitoring theirs. Scott Peak, however, our storm chaser, he had been in Tylertown as that active tornado warning was passing over. He now is in Bogalusa, Mississippi. Not seeing then anything on his stream that would have to do with any of the active tornado warnings. And Reed Timmer was chasing the other tornado warning that does not look as likely to be on the ground. And so I will say we're seeing a shelf cloud on a stream from another chaser. I'm going to go ahead and get that view prepared for you. Looks like I should be able to bring that up in just a couple minutes. This would be from Foxworth, Mississippi. This next view coming up here. Making sure that's the best one. All right, from Sarah Kasabian out of Foxworth, Mississippi, a storm chaser. That's what I'll be pulling up now from another tornado warning. This one that we're looking at on the screen in Mississippi is passing between Roxy and Crosby right between those two cities here in just a couple of minutes. It had been seen on the ground. And so really rural area. And I'll be hoping that things can stay calmer, that this does reduce in intensity, but it was not long ago. This was seen on the ground. It's been tracking for quite a while since it was in Louisiana. And so what I'm going to show you now will be a view from Foxworth, Mississippi, where the active tornado warning is ongoing. And this is from Sarah Kasabian. So there was a shelf cloud on here. I'll just manipulate this a little bit and try to get it so that you have a better view of what's going on. But it kind of lost that view here of the shelf cloud. We might be seeing that here after she gets past the tree line. But a shelf cloud is something that will hang down at the leading edge of a thunderstorm. And when you see them, I'll point it out if we catch it again. It's definitely a sign that the winds are going to pick up and that there's going to be some rainfall if that shelf cloud passes overhead. In this case, there is a tornado warning with it. And so those tornadoes are typically right behind the shelf clouds, that leading edge of the thunderstorm, and attached to a wall cloud most of the time, unless it's a landspout tornado. So this particular tornado warning, gosh, the other one's looking pretty bad too. This one is being looked at from Foxworth, Mississippi. And that's really close to Columbia, Mississippi. So this is the same storm that we had been watching the views from Reed Timmer. Again, nothing ever appeared to be on the ground totally. I'm still not seeing any evidence of that. So what I'll do is here we go with a better opening. So that distinct shelf cloud that I'd seen on her stream, it must just be in a different direction at this point since I showed it to you guys. Unless it's just kind of not really that clear, high resolution. Could be what's right front and center, but not likely. And so that particular storm, that is nearing Columbia. Well, it's actually past Columbia at this point. It does not look as well defined on the radar to have a tornado with it, like what we see with the other tornado that has been seen on the ground. So I'll go ahead and switch back to our radar here and show you what's going on. This is the one now passing between Crosby and Roxy, Mississippi, that absolutely was on the ground, appears to have wind speeds, around that lower end threshold, like 70, 80 miles per hour, right where we see the green and the red touching together here. Next in line, as I scoot over, it's Meadville and Bude, Mississippi. So do just keep in mind that if you're anywhere within these red, blinking red zones, that's where you're going to want to take cover. That is the active tornado warning right now. Now, unfortunately, we don't have any eyes on this storm. I've been scanning all the different chaser channels that we have access to and people that have partnered with us, but we're not catching any. And well, in this very latest loop, it looks a little less likely to be on the ground. Of course, this isn't the only radar station to be looking at it from. And sometimes it can help to get a different view. So I'm going to see about switching that radar site. I'll zoom out here and turn on you'll see them populate everywhere where there is a radar station. So we can take a look from another area. We have one to the north, one to the south. Now that this thing has been moving a little bit, this is a closer view of that storm system, and one that then shows a different story, something that looks more well defined. And so, unfortunately, it does look like this tornado has a good chance of still being on the ground as it was observed and known to be starting about 20 minutes ago. But it looked like even for the 30 minutes before that, that it was on the ground. So we're not seeing anything from Reed Timmer's stream, who is now a little bit further away from the tornado warning he had been positioned toward near Macomb, Mississippi. So I'll go ahead and pull a couple of these down. And then we'll just keep an eye on Sarah's stream here in the bottom right, Kasabian, as she is a little bit closer to Columbia, Mississippi, where a separate tornado warning is. So the one we're looking at now, that's just really rural, nobody's on it, but that rotation is passing north of Crosby, Mississippi, south of Roxy, Mississippi, as an observed tornado on the ground, heading toward Meadville and Bude, probably on those south sides, honestly, like a little bit south of the town proper, would be most likely with this scenario. And that's going to be in that area probably in about 20 minutes as it continues to move east northeast. So these could be damaging situations. I'm going to go ahead on let you guys know what I'm seeing on the maps as far as what is between Crosby and Roxy. So we also have Franklin and White Apple. As this storm, particularly where the rotation is, where that green and red are touching near each other, would be closer to Knoxville, Perrytown, Mississippi, and then Knoxville and Rosetta, Mississippi. So I'm going to get a really close look here and see if any of the towns are affected. This is now kind of moving, and we have a new update a little bit further east. And so this latest update shows it east of Knoxville, closer to Bunkley, Mississippi. So that'd be the north side of Bunkley, Mississippi. It's almost all going to be just open forest area. This is a Homochito National Forest region north of Bunkley, Mississippi, that currently has that rotation overhead, and has been actually observed as a tornado doing damage on the ground. So at any moment, this could start to kind of calm down. But in the event that this tornado warning continues, it would be moving in about 10-15 minutes toward a small airport, toward Franklin Field in Mississippi. That's after it has passed through that national forest. Afterward, in about 30 minutes from now, it could very well be south of Bude, Mississippi, where Scott Peak had just been showing us views from. So that would be making a close pass, as this is an observed tornado that's been seen on the ground in the last 20 minutes or so, that is still being listed as observed, heading toward Bude, Mississippi. So hopefully this ends up leaving that rotation a little bit south of Bude. Otherwise, that is a pretty, it's a good sized town there. I would hate for, anybody to get hit with this. And so it looks like things really changed in that last radar loop. I don't know why. So what I'll do is just go ahead and select another site again. Not turn this on. Clear a couple things here out of the way. And we should be getting a clearer view of this. Yeah, so the storm close to Columbia, Mississippi, looks like it's continuing to get less organized, less likely to have a tornado on the ground. But what's going toward Meadville and Bude had been seen on the ground. It's just south of Roxy right now. And this is being labeled as a tornado emergency because it's known that there was damage on the ground. And now I am also in a severe thunderstorm warning for an approaching storm in North Georgia. That's going to be leaving Dahlonega, Georgia here soon, but we don't, the storms closer to me do not appear to have rotation in them like we have with this observed tornado on the ground right now that's heading toward Butte, Mississippi. And then as things are getting darker here, I mean, there is a little bit of rotation, honestly, over Dahlonega. What that says to me on the radar, that's Dahlonega, Georgia, with the severe thunderstorm warning, is that there's a lot of mountains by me here and in Dahlonega, Georgia. And so that is going, like what I'm seeing on base velocity with an opposing wind direction would be likely some trees could be going down as there's wind going up and down the mountains. And some of those faces will get pushed back, some opposing winds, but does not look much like an actual tornado couplet in Georgia. However, we're still under tornado watch, so that would be one to keep an eye on as the storm moves from Dahlonega, Georgia, toward like Cleveland, Georgia, near Helen. And that's in North Georgia. I'll show you where that is on the map as I back up from this tornado warning that is active and has been seen on the ground heading toward Meadville and Butte in Mississippi. This is the batch of severe thunderstorms I'm talking about closer to me, where I am now included in that severe thunderstorm warning. There has been a little bit of opposing wind speed here. And so you see that green and the red, but it's not as strong. And so what's over Dahlonega could be snapping some larger tree limbs off here and there. We get a lot of trees down just with all the mountains that are here changing the effect of the wind as it's incoming. So I'll let you know if I see anything. But as far as storm reports go, we still don't have new ones. We did not see that observed tornado warning that's been known to be on the ground heading toward Meadville and Butte in Mississippi. We have not seen any reports of it doing damages. I didn't see that central rotation go over any populated areas. So it's not to say like that one of the few homes or areas didn't get damaged, but it was not apparent right away that anybody had any damages from this tornado. So we know this one's been on the ground. And the one that's including South Hattiesburg, Mississippi, close to Purvis right now, we've had quite a few storm chasers on this. We haven't had any confirmations that it's been on the ground, but it's just kind of like a sloppier, less likely to be on the ground tornado warning. I would still just absolutely be, telling people to take cover for between Purvis and Hattiesburg and Mississippi. So Louisiana has been basically in the clear here. Now, we do have some debris wafted about